going on, everybody? Welcome to the jungle. As always, we're brought to you by the Blue Wire Broadcast Network and the Riverfront. I'm your host, Joe Farsing. That's Parker Fields. Hey, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Ready to talk some training camp. Little more exciting news today. We get to talk about Joe Burrow's hair, so should be a good episode.
It's something here. It looks like a cross, and I saw this on Twitter. It looks like a cross between Eminem circa 1999 and Bart Simpson with the red T-shirt. So
yeah, a little bit. I didn't even think of that. Shout out the Simpsons. I didn't even think about that.
It's I mean, again, like he's got more fashion sense than I do. We talked about this for a second off air. I don't exactly have any hair to bleach. I did bleach my hair or get highlights and frosted tips once upon a time. So I can't say
you did.
I did. I was.
You went into the trend back in the day. What year was this? Like 90s, mid 90s, late 90s?
Early 2000s. Just the highlights. It wasn't all platinum. It was, my regular color
like
on the sides.
The Justin Timberlake highlights back in the day. I've seen that.
I think so. Yeah, I got. So I knew I knew someone who worked at the salon, and she'd been bugging me. And I'm not sure if I was married or we were just engaged or dating at that point. But she said try it, so we did.
Did you spike them up?
I had the bumped into a wall look they called, where it was spiked up on the
Okay.
So it was when I thought I could pull things off, but it probably thank God I didn't no one took a lot of pictures of me back then, because it probably looked terrible. So as you guys can see, those of you that are watching on YouTube, which by the way, if you are, like and subscribe and all that fun crap, on the car on here, I am mentally checked out. I am supposed to leave. It is, as we record, it is 8:15 on Tuesday night. My flight leaves 8:15 Wednesday morning to go to Florida and then cruise to the Bahamas, where I might be sharing a drink on the beach with your good friend of mine, Tim Daniel. We will be in Nassau at the same time.
He's going to be there too?
Yeah. His cruise is we're on different cruises. I'll probably see him at Disney at some point, but our cruises will be in Nassau at the same time. So I will. There will be pictures, so don't worry about that. But I might be enjoying a frosty adult beverage on the white sandy shores of Nassau in the Bahamas at some point the next week.
When do you come back?
Tuesday, late Tuesday. So
yeah, that's when I leave for vacation.
Where are you going? I know you told me, but I forget.
I'm going to Tampa. Yeah.
Home to the best strip clubs in the world. Not that I expect you'll be frequenting those, but
it's about 5 single dudes, so maybe you don't know.
You're only young once, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, this is veterans reported today, rookies reported again today. Today is Tuesday. Rookies reported on Saturday. Tomorrow is the first day of actual practices. From Wednesday 2:15 to 3:55. Not a ton of news, not a ton going on right now. Again, everyone's just showing up. There was the annual media luncheon with Mike Brown and coaches yesterday. So do have some quotes in there and a little bit of stories just as we get going for the first couple of days of camp here. Again, as we said, Burrow reports with his new do. He's replacing Boomer Esiason as the blonde bomber. Again, that's a throwback, but I mean, Boomer had some awesome blonde locks back in the day. His, I think, was a little more natural, but
that's still the single Joe Burrow look. That's the single Joe Burrow look.
Yeah, I guess he is
single now.
From what I heard, yeah. So there's about 1 million females in Greater Cincinnati ears just kind of perked up like a
Greater Cincinnati. That's not more than that. Just
well,
he's got them all across the U.S.
Yeah, but he lives here and works here, so.
Baton Rouge, they're probably going crazy too.
Absolutely. Zach Taylor in comments yesterday, Zach Taylor said Burrow is completely 100% fully cleared for contact. Also said Burrow and all starters are going to play in this preseason at some point, but Joe Burrow will be on a pitch count early in camp. Quote, it's more the head coach being proactive, knowing that, really ideally 30 days from now, our team is ready to go. Meaning late August. Late August, getting ready for that first regular season game. And so my job is these first 2 weeks, to make sure we're managing it to where those last 2 weeks we can hit the ground running. One thing I've learned is just to be proactive with managing it. You will never regret being proactive. The first week, 2 weeks of training camp, there are plenty of reps to go around. He said it right there. You hit the ground running. This is something the Bengals have not been able to do, and Joe Burrow especially. Outside of his rookie season, where he still had the screwed up non-training or no OTAs and things like that with the weird COVID year, he's been rehabbing injuries or having his appendix burst. He's had something to deal with last year with the calf as well. So hopefully, again, week 1 rolls around. By the time they hit New England Patriots, everyone's at at 100%, or at least as full strength as you should be going in the very early part of the season, right?
Yeah, I think this is definitely the move. Like we've talked about, we definitely want to see him take some preseason snaps, though. Like we want to see him out there, get a little bit warmed up, because like we've talked about, he's looked bad the first couple weeks of the season, each of the last 2 seasons. So we want to see us get off to a better start, and I think him just being more of a contributor in training camp, more of a contributor in the preseason will definitely help that. And it was just nice to see pictures of like everybody back in the building today. And I'm so fucking excited for the season, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, this is there's no such thing at this point. There's no such thing as a make or break year, right? I mean, this is a team that's been to the Super Bowl, been to the AFC Championship game another year. They've been to the very last game of the season, and we expected they're going to be in contention this year, but this roster is going to look a lot different next year. Obviously, this is going to be the last year for T. Higgins. This is going to be. This is the last. Hendrickson.
This could be our best shot at a Super Bowl. Like it definitely could be. Like you never know. This team definitely needs to, have a sense of urgency this season.
Yeah, when you look at no matter what happens this season, when you look at the history of the Bengals, 2020 to 2024 is going to be its own chapter. And then 25 on is going to be a different chapter because, Burrow is still here and he's going to be here for the long term. Jamar Chase is here next year and year after that, and most likely for a long term after that. We'll get into those comments here shortly. But the defense is already in transition, right? I mean, this is outside of Mike Hilton and Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. I guess. To a small extent, Von Bell because he's back, but I mean these are the last of the guys that were there on the early run. I guess the linebackers too, but regardless, like there's a lot of transition on the defensive line and the secondary. It's a different looking team. Obviously, you're not going to flip over all 53 men, and they don't need to do that, but they are a very good, talented roster 1 to 53. Again, it all hinges on what Joe Burrow can do and what he looks like, and if he's around for all 17 weeks, hopefully 16 weeks, and then week 18 they're playing backups because they already have first round bye locked up, but we're getting way ahead of ourselves on that one. So it's having Burrow there again just to get that strong start, get out there 3-1, 4-1 this season, put some distance between you and because especially the Ravens have a rough start, have a rough start to the season, and you don't know what you're getting at quarterback from Cleveland and from Pittsburgh. Get that. I mean, you just want the aura around. Like, no, the Bengals aren't fucking around. These guys are out here. They're no matter what happens with Kansas City, they beat Kansas City. They could be out 5-6-0. Even if they lose to them, it's that's not a season-defining game right there that early in the season. So you put that distance between you, and you own that narrative that Bengals aren't fucking around. They're out here. They've got a mission, and the rest of the league needs to be put on notice, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch this season too because I think this could be statistically like a crazy air raid offense this season. Like I don't think we're gonna run the ball a lot. I'm completely being honest. Like you saw games with Joe Mixon as your bell cow, still only running the ball like 10 times in a game in some of those high profile matchups versus the Chiefs and Ravens. Like I definitely think we're probably going to be the team that throws the ball in the NFL the most, at least quarters 1 through 3, because there's a good chance if we're good, quarter 4, hopefully we're running the ball a lot more to burn some clock and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to watch this season because I love a good passing attack. I really think this year, maybe T. Higgins' last year on the Bengals, they're gonna air that thing out.
Yeah, I'm all here for it. Like again, it's
Bengals news, by the way, breaking. Trey Hendrickson, number 77 on the NFL 100.
impressive. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Again, he's still. I think he's still overlooked. He's not Myles Garrett. He's not TJ Watt or TJ Watt.
He's not that far off though, production wise.
Exactly.
It's just it's the intimidation factor. I think is why he's not that scary looking at him.
Right. Exactly. He's an incredibly. I mean, until he goes to blackout Trey mode, like he's incredibly like friendly looking. He doesn't have that big intimidating presence on him. I don't know if you saw this. The Athletic put out their pre-training camp NFL power rankings. The Bengals were at 14, which is crazy to me. Trying to count.
So they're saying we're a wild card or a wild card playoff team. Last wild card spot playoff team is what they're saying.
They have them out. They're the eighth. They have them as the 8th best. Yeah, because the AFC's had less stronger than the NFC.
I mean, unless you're assuming we're going to be injured, which you can't. Anytime you do preseason shit, you should assume everybody's healthy the whole season.
Right, you assume health, but you don't expect it to continue. The quotes that they put on here, and this is by who's the Josh Kendall, who's one of the Athletics national football writers. Defense that quietly helped power Cincinnati to Super Bowl 56 completely fell apart last season. They gave up 6 yards to play, the worst number in the league. That's going to have to be corrected if the Von return of Burrow is going to mean much. Bengals missed the playoffs not because their defense was terrible, but because they didn't have a healthy Joe Burrow. That's it. I mean, yeah, the defense was awful. No one's going to argue that, but that's not even again, that would have held them from that. Last year's team wasn't making the AFC Championship game, wasn't making the Super Bowl, but
they could have won a game in the playoffs. I feel like in the
right, they could have won. They could have won and made it to the divisional round. They could have even won on the division. Like, this is a talented team. When your offense can put up points, that's so much. Especially when it comes to the playoffs, that's so much more important than a defense. Because this isn't 1975. A good offense is going to score on a good defense.
Yeah, 100%. It's an offensive league. The rules are, dictated that way. The rules are all in favor of the offensive player. So, I don't know. I'm excited about this offense, man. And I think Anarumo has shown, like we said, it doesn't matter who the hell you give him. He can get you to a top 16 defense. Nice crack, by the way, there. What are you drinking tonight?
Just root beer.
Just root beer. Okay.
I was trying to crack it under the counter, under my desk here, so it didn't.
Nah, that might
too much in my. Now I don't have a fancy drink with me tonight. Although I got some dark chocolate liqueur. It's
okay.
Mozart. So a shot of that, a shot of salted caramel whiskey, and a little bit of cream. Oh my Lord! For those out there that are listening and want a good beverage on the rocks, that was fucking delightful. So my liver is going to be limping back to Cincinnati when I come back because
mine, when I come back from vacation, I'm done for it.
So my wife and I have the unlimited drinks package on the cruise, which is up to 15 beverages a day. Alcoholic beverages, because pop and whatever, that doesn't count towards it. I don't expect to drink 15 beverages a day. Coffee count, the lattes and shit like that. Those are considered as part of the plan. But I'm going to be getting as much of my money's worth as I can and not worry about falling into the Atlantic Ocean. My liver is going to be limping back here, but
especially 15, because you're not a beer drinker, so you're going to be drinking 15 cocktails a day.
Yeah, this isn't something that's single digit.
Because 15 beers. I'm sorry,
volume.
15 beers I could slam in 3 to 4 hours. If I really tried to. He's drinking cocktails. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, but if I'm having a bourbon and. Yeah.
Yeah, that's different too.
Also, it's about 5 pounds. If I'm drinking, I mean,
you're gonna be drinking.
What's that?
Joe's gonna come. Yeah, make sure you're light on your eating on vacation.
Well, that's the problem is that
You're gonna walk around bloated the whole time. Gotta get to 12.
The buffet, like there's buffets literally 24 hours too. So I'm not a small guy. I mean, Parker's met me in person. Like I'm not gigantic,
dude,
but
though.
I'm a decent sized guy. I'm gonna come back in a wheelbarrow.
What size t-shirt do you wear right now?
Large to extra large, depending on how.
You're gonna come back a double XL, XL to double XL.
3. I'm thinking a 3. Luckily, we'll be at Disney, so there's gonna be a lot of walking going on. But I'm gonna have to be running that just to try to keep at some sort of a reasonable level for.
See, the thing is, when I go on vacation or go on trips and stuff, like I pretty much just I'll go to the beach and shit, and I just don't eat a lot on vacation, so I don't end up gaining weight because I just don't eat that much. But I probably drink 2,000 calories a day in alcohol, so I have to only save like one meal a day eating wise, and then that's how you try and stay slim right there.
Right, and it's like because the kids are obviously they've got the kids and they're going to want to do stuff, so we're just going to be out moving around. But it's going to be rough coming back next week.
I need to see a drunk selfie between you and Tim. Guys, I need to see you and Tim chug something. That's what I need to see.
That's we'll get one of our wives to take some video of Tim and me doing a shot or drinking something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I got to see that.
I'll get him on that.
All right, cool. Muted. McPherson. And then
okay, stupid microphone. Anyway, Evan McPherson is eligible for an extension per Mike Brown. This and Duke extension conversations are ongoing. I would imagine that gets done during camp, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. It's not going to be crazy money, for a kicker, but obviously he is a very, very elite kicker, but still not going to probably be too absurd of a contract.
No, it's Duke Tobin's comments where I think that's a possibility could come together. It could come together while we're talking, or as we're talking here. It could come together next week. It could come together never. Is that a big enough window? Between 10 seconds from now and 10 years from now. He's one of those guys that likes talking but loves saying nothing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%.
But, and yeah, that's the thing. I mean, kickers don't make money that's going to take up a gigantic chunk of your
yeah, no, but he'll get top end kicker money though.
Yeah, I'm looking at Justin Tucker. His cap number is $5.8 million, and he is still at age 35, still the best kicker in the NFL.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure where others are. I know Jake Elliott signed an extension not long ago for good money, but $6 million a year, like that's
nothing to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, even when you could draft somebody and pay him the league minimum, you've got that guy that knows that's not a huge difficult decision to make, to have to worry about putting that big of a chunk of a piece of pie on your kicker. So
no.
Speaking of extensions, Jamar Chase has not been extended. Mike Brown states the team will bend over backwards to extend him, but probably it's those are the octogenarian's words.
Pause, Mike Brown.
He is, I want to say 86, if I'm not, born in 1935. So,
oh damn, he's almost 90.
88 years old. He'll be 89 in a couple weeks. He's not young, and apparently he's bending over backwards for Jamar Chase. So that tells you right there. This isn't T. Higgins to where it's, we think he's going to get signed. He should get signed. He'll probably get signed. He's going to get signed.
Yeah.
He even stated that they don't look at Jamar as a wide receiver. He's a star player. Whatever that number is that needs to be out there for him to sign, that's where they're going to go for him, regardless of what the top end of the market. And wide receiver market is over $30 million now. But Jamar deserves and has earned to be at the top of that spot. It's not a surprise that he isn't signed yet. CeeDee Lamb is still out there from the same draft class. Justin Jefferson was the class before, and he just signed his.
Lamb's class of 2020. He was.
That's right. Lamb was. That's right. Lamb was the class before. Who am I thinking? Who was in his class? Is that Waddle?
No, his class was. Yeah, it was Waddle. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Waddle,
none of those guys.
Devontae Smith. Waddle,
Yeah,
Devontae Smith.
Smith did sign his, but again, there's Chase is going to get signed. There's absolutely no reason to worry about him getting it. It's just a matter of when he gets it. So yeah, Smith was the 10th overall pick that year. So
yeah, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah,
Bateman. God, this receiver class is horrible compared to 2020. Outside of Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and who did I say before? Jalen Waddle. Well, even those two aren't CeeDee Lamb level or like T. Higgins. They're more like T. Higgins level receivers.
I mean, Michael Pittman, T. Higgins, but I mean those are guys in the second round. Like that was a historically loaded wide receiver draft.
Yeah, this draft has Toney and Bateman in the first round, who probably combined last year for 400 yards receiving.
Rashad Bateman, you forget that guy. Ravens have made some terrible first round picks when it comes to wide receivers. I don't know if they have if they have a legit number one receiver this year. They are not good at keeping receivers around there, which is so weird. I mean, you don't have any concerns that they're gonna sign Chase. Like, this isn't gonna be T. Higgins, right?
No, I think Jamar Chase 1,000% will get signed. For one, he's one of your quarterback's best friends.
Yeah.
So unless you're trading for who it seems like he's almost closer with Justin Jefferson, like personally.
Which makes sense. I mean, they were in the same position group.
If you've noticed though, it seems like he hangs out with Jefferson a lot, like in the offseason, which is funny. But unless you're trading Jamar Chase straight up for Justin Jefferson, then like you got to keep Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I think that's the only world where like it makes your quarterback happy. It's somebody he's comfortable with. It's somebody he spends time with in his free time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we pointed out last week about how the Bengals are good at
and he's also a top 3 wide receiver in the world. So
right, exactly. Exactly. We pointed out how the Bengals have historically been good at drafting, developing, and identifying wide receivers. But you can't draft and develop a Jamar Chase. Like that guy, no. There are a few of those guys that are just that dude. Like they're just have that God-given ability, and you're not replacing that. You can replace the production that T. Higgins has had if it's spread out against a couple of different people that can move and fit a couple of different spots on the line, or in and around the formation. You can do that. You can't replace what Jamar Chase can give you. So, agreed. The only little bit of actual news this week, Amarius Mims signed his first round contract on Monday morning. He was the very last of the first rounders to ink a deal. People were starting to worry, which was kind of silly. I don't know what the hang up was, but since the CBA redid the rookie and like everything's slotted and there's a scale and everything like that. Like that stuff's almost boilerplate. A lot of it just has to do with the minutia of the legalese in there. I had no concern that he wasn't going to be there in camp, and boom, he signed on Monday before practices fully start. So, yeah, I didn't really have any concerns about that either. I knew Mims would be there, and they got the deal done, so good. Yeah. In Amarius Mims related news, Trent Brown reported to camp and opens on the NFI, which is not football, either injury or illness list. Gives Mims first team reps unless Brown comes back tomorrow. There's no word on what the injury illness is. No reason to think it's anything that's serious or anything, but all across the player personnel, Tobin and Mike Brown, is like this is a legitimate position battle. This is more than what I had thought. I mean, we kind of assumed that Trent Brown's going to be the starter, and Amarius Mims will take over at some point. He's going to be the swing guy if anyone has to take a breather, or be the big guy on jumbo packages. But there's a legit thought that Amarius Mims can win the job outright.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a good shot. I mean, him being out to start training camp, we know that type of stuff gives somebody an advantage. And that's going to give Mims an advantage. And if he performs well and Brown comes back a little out of shape and sluggish, then it's probably going to be his job.
Yeah. And the one thing that held Mims back, that kind of allowed him to be drafted at 18 instead of earlier, where his ability and physical attributes would portend him to be drafted, which would be top 5, top 7 pick, is his lack of experience. To me, that is, now that he's in camp and there's now an actual battle for that spot, how important is it that guy doesn't have all the snaps that a third year or fourth year player coming out of the draft has? This is a guy who's so fresh. Yeah, he's had a couple injuries, nothing major that that's gonna hold him back, or it's gonna be nagging through the rest of his career. His knees, and considering his enormous size, especially his knees and back, are relatively fresh.
Yeah, agreed. And I think he's going to be able to, be able to be out there and look good this season. And I think he's definitely going to be able to push Brown for that spot. I'm really confident that he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it's nice to have. He doesn't have to take that spot. This isn't Jackson Carman being put out there because there's no one else out there, or Michael Jordan being put out there, or Cordell Volson winning a job competition in Jack Carman's second year because he was the least bad at that spot. Trent Brown has that baseline of being an incredibly solid, very good tackle. Injuries are the only thing that held him back, but if that guy is now a backup in your swing tackle, you feel really, really confident about those guys going forward. I don't know if any of those guys, if him, Orlando Brown, if any of those guys can play guard if there's injuries. I know they have at some point, but just that depth is so much better. And again, it's especially if Mims gets the first team, wins the starting role.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that statement for sure.
So, per Duke Tobin, the Bengals will not be exploring a veteran cornerback. They're going to roll with the depth that they have. Which, how do you feel on their secondary depth?
I would say not great. It's definitely the weak link of our defense and probably our team at this current junction. But I like some of the young guys back there. And I think if Dax Hill can develop into a solid corner switching positions as our corner 4, I think that will help us tremendously moving forward.
Yeah. I'm not even sure, without knowing who's out there right now. There are a lot of guys that obviously are going to get cut at throughout camp and everything like that. But I'm just looking at Spot Track right now to see even who's available, like on the street right now, for their cornerbacks. And you have to go all the way. I mean, you've got older guys like Xavier Howard, J.C. Jackson, Adoree Jackson, like guys that are in their late 20s, early 30s. Stephon Gilmore, who's almost 34 years old. Patrick Patterson, who is 34 years old.
Hey, Gilmore's still good though. Seriously, like he's still solid. I wouldn't mind Stephon Gilmore on this team.
And that's something I think that, especially at his age, I think he'd be waiting to sign towards the end of camp, maybe early in the season when injuries start taking a toll, and there's he can kind of choose his spot too.
And he can skip camp.
That's exactly it. Again, he's going to be 34
work out
years old.
by his lonesome and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Eli Apple's still out there. He's still only not quite 30 or he's not even 29 yet.
God, he was young when he got drafted then.
Yeah. He's got 7 years in the league and who was 29. So that's, I can't believe that guy's still in the league. I mean, he was, I think because of his mouth, he got a lot of shit. But
it wasn't that bad on the Bengals. It was just because he talked like he was cornerback 1 in the NFL. That's why.
Right. He was solid, but again, like he just, liked to talk out of his ass.
Agreed.
again, I mean, you've got Cam Taylor-Britt and presumably DJ Turner-Wadrago at the other spot. I don't know. Again, we're waiting to see what's going on with Dax Hill. Is he going to be able to be a guy? He's got all the physical ability. I mean, he's got good size for a cornerback, can run absolutely like the wind, but he's never been an NFL outside quarterback. He's not a safety. He's not a slot guy. They tried him at the slot, and he was very bad. A guy that I think people were kind of sleeping on a little bit and played really well was 7th rounder last year, DJ Ivey. He played incredibly well before he was a knee. I can think of knee injury. I think he blew his ACL. So that helps their depth. That they had him, and they did draft a couple of guys in Josh Norman and Deshaun Anthony. But
Josh Norman.
Yeah. So they've got depth, but there is something to be said for having that veteran guy that, again, maybe he's not going to be the most athletic, and he's going to get beat by someone who's bigger, stronger, fat, things like that have worry with age, but they have that. They're not going to get the deer in the eyes look when someone hits a big play on them. They're going to be able to come right back and make a big play. So that's the only reason why I would be okay. Maybe we want to look at somebody if it's getting towards September 1, or later towards get to the first week. They might want to pick somebody, maybe someone who was let go. So we shall see. Any other news or notes? I mean, that's kind of just the headlines of stuff that Duke Tobin said, Mike Brown said, Zach Taylor said during the luncheon. And again, now we're just waiting for guys to put on helmets and shoulder pads and get out there and kick the shit out of each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, not much. There's going to be a lot to talk about next week. I'm sure you'll have a special guest host next week, I'm guessing.
We shall see. I might just do it solo just because,
Yeah.
What else do we have to do? Again, the Bengals are out. They practice. Sorry, I'm pulling up the schedule. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They are off Saturday. Most of these practices are season ticket and waitlist members only. I think Thursday's practice is club members only. Most of the rest of the camp, it is open. People who hang out on the bridge. People go. There's, I think, 1,200 seats, bleachers. You ever been down to practice? Or down to training camp?
I'm going on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, I have done before too. But I'm going Monday.
I want to go hang out on the bridge just because you get that wide angle view of all the fields and everything. So, but I have not actually been there in person. I kind of just live vicariously through people who brave the heat and have nothing else to do on a weekday afternoon. So I'll be living vicariously. I'll be getting back on a cruise ship on Monday. So enjoy that. I'll be somewhere in Florida at that point. So what else is going on around the riverfront this week, P?
We got we got a Riverfront Red Show. Going to be drafting All-Stars. Late Night Reds. That was last week. That was last week.
We drafted. I didn't update that. So
we got Late Night Reds every Sunday with Tim and Ben. That's always fun. They get to talk about they had a really fun episode this week where they talked about the Reds getting swept by the damn Nationals. So
did you hear Ben's? You hear Ben's rant?
Yeah, I did.
Early on, that was fantastic. Jeff Carr is stepping in for Tim because Tim's going to be out in the open waters. Jeff Carr is what did I call him? He was Sport Clips version of Tim Daniel at the live show.
Great Clips first.
Yes, well, I said Great Clips. He asked if we could update
Clips.
Him. Yeah, he updated like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. So you can at least watch games where you're getting the hot steam whatever the hell crap they do there. I don't know.
Getting a steam towel.
That's weird. I don't know. I'll stick my face in the dryer if I want a hot steam towel. We're talking I'll say we as in the greater we, the royal we, talking Olympic hoops on NBA Happy Hour this week, aren't we?
Yeah. Talking some NBA hoops, some Olympic hoops. Talk about the USA going 5-0 in their first exhibition set. So I watch the Olympics this year, actually.
5-0 is good, but again, this isn't 1992. This isn't the Dream Team where they're stopping everyone by 80 points. But
yeah, the world's just too good at this point.
Yeah, it's.
Somebody needs to help out LeBron, man. LeBron's 40 years old, and he has to carry them down the stretch of games every game.
He's
Like-
only 39.
He'll be 40 this year, though. Still,
Yeah, he's old. Again, when you're playing the same time as your kid, you're pretty old.
you're watching your kids' games on ESPN while you're warming up for your game.
Right, exactly. Again, like I know the rest of the world. The rest of the world hasn't caught up in terms of just the sheer amount of. I mean, outside of a handful of players, there's 20, 30 guys of names that they could trade in and out, and they wouldn't lose a lot of ability.
The top four, arguably, I mean, most people would say the top four best players in the world are all not American.
Right.
So that's you got Giannis, Jokic, Luka, and Shea. And that's arguably the top four players in the world, and they're all not American. And, I mean, Embiid plays for the USA team, but, he's not born here and stuff, so.
Yeah. How do we let Canada get pretty good at basketball? They don't have the depth or anything, but
their starting five, though, is, good as hell.
I was
Shea, Murray, Barrett, Dylan Brooks, and then their center sucks. It's like Dwight Powell, who's, last man on the bench on the Mavericks. Their center, and then or Kelly Olynyk. That's where they lack.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop Anthony Davis. That was the problem for them.
I totally forgot Kelly Olynyk was still alive. He was Gonzaga, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like he's been around forever. He's got to be in his 30s, right?
He's 33, almost 33.
Okay, I was going to say.
He was at Gonzaga when I was 10. Yeah, it's been a while.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, he was on that first stage of Gonzaga getting really good. That era, when they first started getting really good.
Yeah. But again, it's weird. I mean, France. I remember France just absolutely getting dunked on, and then Tony Parker, and now that they have legitimate dudes. Again, Wembanyama is generational, physical freak show that I don't know how much credit you can give to the French basketball program. When you get someone who's got that size and that dexterity on top of skill on top of that, but they're a solid squad. Germany is a solid squad. Sure, I mean the amount of NBA players that are on Team Australia. Now, granted, a lot of those guys are older players. That this is their third or fourth Olympics. When you have Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles still on their Olympic squad?
Patty Mills, Joe Ingles, yeah.
Joe Ingles, I think, played on the 1992 Australian squad. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, he has. He has been.
So, also, Red Leg Roundtable. Seth talked about this last week. Seth welcomes former Red and still extremely useful Immaculate Grid answer Drew Stubbs. As always, check out Seth's show if you haven't. He does a fantastic job interviewing Reds and Reds adjacent players, broadcasters, personalities, whatever. So, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Let's enjoy vacation.
I'm absolutely looking forward to it. We will be back together in 2 weeks. Yeah, Parker will be out of here next week. Until then, everyone, be good and hooday.
Hooday.